Hello, everyone. My name is Ravi. I'm here to share with you some speaking tips. Today's tips are going to be focused on those speakers for whom English is a second language, like myself. I grew up in an environment which was not English, and it was in India. Coming to America, I had to learn to speak in a way which was easily understood. And with an information technology background, I also had to make sure that my background was not going to be a factor in giving my presentations. So I have got many points to share, but today I'm going to focus on just three things. Number one, you want to speak at a comfortable pace, or what I call as speak at ease. Second is the word selection should be simple. And third is the sentences that can become part of your presentation. So let's start with speaking at ease. Growing up in a different culture, as well as with a different language skills, you were you had to struggle to learn a different language. So it's very natural that every time you are picking up a new skill or a new language, you are using the existing skill to learn that new skill. For me, it was more about translating. Whenever somebody would ask me a question in English, it was like my mind was working like a processor. It will interpret in my personal language, come up with a response, and then translate it back. So there was a lot of processing going on. And that's how I understood and how I used it. What I had to do was break that chain, become natural in the language itself, which means that I had to devise my own techniques. And one technique that worked for me is speaking at a comfortable rate which is conversational, a rate which is easy for your listener to understand. Speaking with ease also means that you have to be clear with your words. I had the tendency of dropping the last syllable of my words. So instead of saying, give it a clear picture, I might be saying, give it a clear picture. So you may have noticed that some syllables were missed. I got coaching, and I basically asked my friends and people who were native English speakers to help me understand those. And one of the tips they gave me was that enunciate. Make sure that every word is clearly understood. And to do that is you have to be very clear, which means that if I'm going to be speaking, I have to be comfortable with my speaking style and practice and discover that what that speaking at ease is, or that style is, which helps me present in a language that is easier to understand. So speak at ease or speak with comfort. Let's go about word selection. As we go through the internet, read books, we come across lots of wonderful words in the English dictionary. However, we cannot pronounce all the words. So my advice to you is that instead of going with complex words, use words that fit into your speech in a very natural way, which means words that are simple is going to be the best words to use in your speeches. You will come across a lot of technical jargons too. And that is where you have to decide. Do you want to use these words for a non-technical audience, or you want to keep those for the technical audience? If you're going to be speaking to a non-technical audience, those complex words is going to be difficult to understand. So my advice is stay with the simpler words as much as possible. I've tried using complex words, and once I became very comfortable with knowing how to pronounce the words, they became much easier to use in my speeches, as well as used in the presentation where they were needed. That made more impact. So use simpler words. And finally, sentences. Remember the storytelling? There was a fox, and there was another fox, and there was a big house. And you know what happened? And we went out. Did you notice I used a lot of ands? Ands make the sentences, they join different sentences to make a complex statement or sentence. What I would recommend is try avoiding and. And is a filler. The less filler you use, the better off you are. So keep your sentences as short as possible. It will be easy for you to deliver those speeches. And not only that, it will be easier for your audience to understand. If you have a long flowing sentence, or if you are able to, if you are able to break your sentence with a voice pitch. This is my first idea. Let's go to the second idea. Let's go to the third idea. And with each sentence and with each idea, a little bit of movement will also help with your presentation. So sentences are not just about giving giving ideas. It is also about how you present them for your audience. So simpler sentences, shorter sentences are much better to have control over than long flowing sentences. I would like to share an example. I had a presentation. I was very excited. I went speaking on and on about certain things. As a result, my sentences were very long, and audience were finding it hard to keep up with every time I used a long sentence. On the other hand, when I tried using short sentences and I paused, looked at the audience reaction, I was able to adjust my speed as well as the number of ideas that I was presenting. So what I've covered today is three things. Number one, speak at ease or speak comfortably. Number two, use simpler words, words that you can pronounce correctly and you are comfortable pronouncing them. And finally, use shorter sentences. Simpler sentences, shorter sentences, a sentence that is easily understood by the audience. Hope these tips were useful to you and you were able to use it in the next speech. Happy preparing your next speech. Bye for now.